Hello, friends.
Hey, today we're going to talk about the Camarillo and Oxnard airports. We just went this morning to the Ventura County Tax Association Breakfast Club, and every month the meeting is held at a different place around the county. And today it was at Camarillo Airport, and we just thought we'd give you an update because we learned so much today that we didn't know. So I'm going to start with the history of the airports. So they started before the war, and
Which airports are those?
the Oxnard and Camarillo airports, and they took 300 acres out there, and they started the airports, so Oxnard Airstrip and Camarillo. In 1939, Howard Hughes even had his plane there. And then the war broke out, so of course they became used for the war effort. And then in 1976, the city of Camarillo acquired the Camarillo Airport, and then the Oxnard Airport. Was established in the 30s. Then the Oxnard Flying School in 1939, and it has evolved to what it is today. Of course, there's no commercial passenger flights out of these airports, and unfortunately, we learned today there never will be. But there used to be out of Oxnard years ago. I know that you could puddle jump from Oxnard down to LAX and catch a flight without tackling the 405. But those days are gone. But we did learn about some possible future ways to get to LAX. You want to talk about those?
Well, I was just thinking, I think Oxnard became a very famous airport when John F. Kennedy used the Oxnard Airport to fly out to see the bases in Port Hueneme. So that's where the Oxnard got its absolutely moniker as a historical airport.
And these airports started before we had Point Mugu. So once they established the Naval Air Base at Point Mugu, these weren't used for military purposes anymore. But now we learned today that the Oxnard Airport, so many innovative companies want to come and use Oxnard Airport as a commercial place to test their drones and all kinds of things in the technology field, which is fascinating. And then Camarillo Airport, there's 3 FBOs there. So if you have a private jet and you want to land there, you've got 3 options to land there. And we learned today that in the city of Moore Park, they're doing a ribbon cutting today for Bombardier. Is an airline. It's an airplane company.
Yeah, manufacturer.
Right? Manufacturer. They
Canadian.
are opening a plant in Moore Park to make specific parts, airplane parts. So it was really interesting. We heard from the woman who is the community development, I would call her, person between the cities and the airports and the community colleges, and trying to build a track in the local colleges, not just the community colleges, but Channel Islands too, to create the personnel we need to work in these high-tech companies that they're trying to lure here, of course, to have high-paying jobs.
Yeah, well, Bombardier, they're a Canadian company, so I think to avoid the tariffs, they definitely need some manufacturing in the U.S.
Well,
the big thing is they took it from 18 months testing period down to 24 hours. So that's where they're getting ahead of the curve. And what they're testing is the drones that fly autonomously, like from here to LAX or from here to San Francisco. They're all electric. They're very quiet. And that's what it's coming to. The Uber of the skies, it's already here.
It's like a giant drone. They showed a picture, and they're trying to get through the approvals to be able to do this kind of high-tech testing here. And they're getting through this 18-month-long process. But once they get through it and we get approved to test these things here, all the high-tech companies that are around don't have to fly to Colorado or Utah to do their testing. They can do it right here in Ventura County. So that was really cool. But these taxis, kind of large drones, so they're going to hold 4 people and a pilot. Of course, they want it to be pilotless sometime in the future, but you'll be able to take these, I don't know, giant drones, are they called something else? I don't know, and take it from Camarillo Airport down to LAX, and again, avoid the 405.
Yeah, it's like a 15-minute flight.
It'd be so cool. So then once we had the presentation from the airport people, which was fascinating, there's over 3,300 airports in the nation, and 85% of those do not have passenger traffic. That shocked me. That number just seemed enormous to me, that we have a lot of regional airports.
Well, it's one of those things where 30 years ago, actually 20 years ago, a 60% full flight to an airlines was profitable. Now it's 90%. So if you wonder why, hey, my plane got canceled, you look around, nobody's on it. Well, guess what? The next plane's going to be full. So a lot of the regional airports have gone the wayside of it's just not profitable to have gate agents and flight service.
Yeah. If you're looking for a job and you're 31 or under, they are desperately hiring for air traffic controllers. So they look for 31 and under. It's a fairly rigorous program, is what we learned today, but they are desperate. So if you are 31 or under or have kids or grandkids in that range, they could be an air traffic controller because they are hiring.
Yes, they are. They're short-staffed at the FAA right now, and the air traffic controllers. That's a long stem problem. Didn't happen overnight, but it has happened and is happening. And all your air traffic controllers do get trained in the beautiful state of Oklahoma.
That's right. Oklahoma City, shout out to the great state of Oklahoma. So then we went and saw the Ventura County Sheriff and Fire helicopters. We got to go in the hangar, and we'll put some pictures. It was so cool, and the guys were so nice, gave us a whole tour, answered all our questions, and it was really fascinating what we learned. They have a Black Hawk helicopter in there that they just bought secondhand for $1.7 million, and they're going to spend $10 million to make it a rescue helicopter. So they're in it for less than $12 million, and the new ones cost $40 million. And LA just got 2 of them. So there's your tax dollars at work. But it's a fascinating program, and it's the only place where they have the sheriff's department and the rescue and the fire all under one umbrella. Most of the other counties, for example, LA County, they're all separate. Separate hangars, separate crews, separate everything, so they can't overlap any of that in the other counties. Ventura County is one of the very few that has it all under one roof, so they can share some of those resources and cross-train. And it was so interesting first of all, how big those helicopters are when they're on the ground, and just how quick they can pull it out of the hangar and have it in the air in less than 15 minutes if they need to. They are fully staffed from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. with crews ready to go for fire or rescue or what they do. And then they have a on standby crew from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. and then 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. You're out of luck. No, just kidding. I'm sure they have a way if there's an emergency.
One thing missing in the fire department's helicopter was there was no pole to slide down.
Yeah, it was so cool. One of the cool things that he showed us in those Blackhawks was they're like a glass bubble, and they have a glass floor so you can see the ground. So he was saying that one of the reasons that Kobe Bryant helicopter crashed was because when you get into fog and you kind of lose your perspective, he couldn't see the ground because he was in an older style helicopter, and you only have the window in front of you. So just a little fast fact there. Another little fast fact I learned was they bill out that helicopter at $13,000 an hour. So that's what it costs. Of course, the summer is their busy season with hikers getting lost and injured. So if you don't want to incur the $13,000 an hour bill to be rescued off a mountain, be prepared.
Well, they do a lot of coastal rescues in Ventura because you've basically got 3 Coast Guard bases that take the whole California coast. San Francisco, San Diego, and Port Hueneme. But guess what? If they're not in Port Hueneme, they might be going up Monterey. Yeah. I mean, so they're not there much. So very interesting. Lisa's going to put a link to the brochure, or they're absolutely what do you call it?
I don't know if there's a link or not, but they just put out there's a new community development person at Camarillo Airport who's trying to help build the community between the airport and the businesses and the schools and the community. So it was really interesting and learning a lot. They do tours. They're happy to do tours, which we took one today. It was great. Of course, I wanted to go see the tower, but we can't go see the tower because they're so short-staffed.
Right. They don't need any disruptions up there. So, any real estate needs?
Yes, so you know where to find us. We just thought this was interesting update on our local Ventura County and how this whole thing relates back to real estate is as long as we continue to bring in these companies that have good, high paying jobs. You know, those people, they need a place to live. So you know where to find us.
GaryandLisa.com.
Your Real Estate Edge.